Yeah, when I started my business,
Awesome.
I really thought that I'd be dealing with so many of the formerly incarcerated, white collar offenders, people such as myself, rebuilding their lives. But I was surprised to find out, but now it makes a lot of sense that I deal primarily with people who have full time jobs, some of which who are very successful, but they're lacking fulfillment.
Mm,
They are lacking joy. They know that there is more to life than the life that they're living, and they want that more. And it's not more in the materialistic sense. And they have oftentimes difficulty articulating what that more is. And that's what I work with them on is we'll get very clear on what more means to them and how we can get that into their lives and give
mm,
them that joy and that fulfillment. And, oftentimes to reinvent themselves as something new, all the while still maintaining their jobs, still keeping the income coming in from their job, but finding
mm,
joy in other ways and fulfillment in other ways, where then all of a sudden their job becomes that much better. It's not a misery to go to work anymore. And really to connect
mm,
them with their own
mhm,
trust, their own sense of being enough, their own sense of self-worth, to learn to love themselves and to accept themselves, and really to have that foundation allows my clients to then really create whatever it is that you want to create. When you have that strong foundation, you can build whatever you want. And that's where that's where my work focuses on. And I can't tell you how enjoyable and how rewarding and how fulfilling that is for me to see my clients' evolution and their transformation is just
yeah.
it's mind blowing. And that's going back to what we were talking about earlier. None of this would have happened had I
Mm,
not committed the crime and gone to prison and experienced all that I experienced. And to be able to use that now as a tool to be of
mhm,
service
mhm.
to those in need is it's just a joy. I mean, it really is.
Mm. That's really incredible. I I am surprised. That's cool. It's really neat to hear about just that the twist that your coaching business has sort of taken, focusing on folks that are uh, in a place where they're just unhappy. But it makes so much sense to me at the same time that I think you mentioned it in again another interview where you talked about how there are just people that, like yourself at the time, you were scared in that corporate role. You didn't know what to do. You maybe there was a sense of like, this is the best I can do. This is all. I don't know what changes I need to make here. You felt like there was need for a change, and the behavior or the decisions that you made that came out of that could have been because of fear of making those big leaps. Maybe you talked about entrepreneurship. Maybe that was something that you were craving and didn't know how to do that, or maybe it was a different role at a different place or a different type of career. Um, but it makes sense that we can get stuck in these places. We can get really stuck in the comfortable. Like you said, I really like how you put it. We can get comfortable in the ash or in some of those ashes and not want to leave, and just like it's painful, it's unpleasant, but I'll stick it out here instead of really fully um, jump into the next level. Is there anything that you do specifically that you'll help guide people to really look at the fears that they have and why they're scared to take the action that they need to? That has been helpful to your clients that you found.
It all starts with inquiry, and it just is asking a lot of questions and listening to what they have to say. But even more importantly is hearing what isn't said. That is really the secret sauce in listening, is to hear what
Mm,
isn't being said and to allow my clients to connect the dots in their own mind. They do have the answers in themselves. And that's what I believe a really great coach does, It just brings people to their own inner wisdom. It wouldn't help my clients if I said, do this and do this. It's bringing them to what is already within them, so they come up with it on their own. And that varies from client to client. But there is one
Mm.
very specific tool that I tend to use with all of my clients, and it's not mine. It actually came from the author Kamal Ravikant, and he put it up as a tweet. He put this up as a tweet, but it impacted my life so much, and I used
Mhm.
it, and it transformed my life. The surest path to self-confidence I know is making and keeping commitments. Well, how it impacted me was, because of the choices I made, I didn't know how to trust myself. So I took Kamal's tweet and I realized, well, you can't have confidence if you don't trust yourself. And I need to trust myself. So I started making and keeping commitments to myself. And I realized with my clients, oftentimes if there is fear, there is no trust in yourself to be able to handle whatever may happen as a result of facing that fear. So we start by making and keeping commitments, whether that be somebody who practices Tai Chi but hasn't been keeping up on their practice. Okay, make and keep the commitment to do that 3 times a week. And when you do keep your commitment to yourself, celebrate yourself. Really hardwire that into the brain to utilize the
Mm.
brain's own reward system. That think about when you have a to-do list and you cross something off of it. Feels good. That's a little shot of dopamine. Our brain is actually wired for our success. So when you make and keep commitments and then you congratulate yourself for that, giving yourself a little bit of shot of dopamine. So now the brain goes, ooh, that felt nice. I'd like a little bit more of that. So now you're making and keeping this commitments on a more regular basis. And you have somebody, me, keeping you accountable to making and keeping those commitments. I don't force them to do anything. If they miss a
Mm.
commitment, it is not the end of the world. But I'm there to be the support. Now you've got a bunch of commitments that you've made to yourself that you have kept, and you can look
Mm.
back and realize, I'm the person who does what I say I'm going to do. I now have trust within myself. Now that I trust myself, what is something that I want to do,
Mm.
but I've been afraid to do? Am I afraid to start writing that book? Am I afraid to go to that public speaking class? Am I afraid to have that difficult conversation with a sibling? Well, now I have this inner trust. I feel okay doing all of those things because
Mhm.
I trust myself that I'm going to be all right, regardless of the outcome of any of those activities. So there's a lot of steps, but that is one of the primary tools that I do use, and it goes even deeper than I explained here. But it's so
Mm.
simple and so powerful.
Wow. I love that. It's really, really beautiful. And that's just a really clear way forward when you're stuck with something in life. You know that something needs to change and you don't know what to do. I really appreciate that very sort of baby step approach that's going to build upon more confidence and lead to more action. So thanks for sharing that.